All right, folks, we're just making sure that we're connected with everybody here. And actually, I'm also going to do a quick view on Facebook just to make sure we are connected. And we are. Perfect. All right, Facebook's good. YouTube's good. And X is good. So we are ready to go. All right, folks. Gene Galin here with the Chatham Journal. Got Asheebo, Rojas of the Chatham News and Record. Hey, a lot going on this past, a lot coming up. We're doing this a little bit early. We're going today on Wednesday instead of Thursday. We usually do Wednesday on Thursdays at noontime. We're doing this on Wednesday this week on noontime. Other thing we're going to be covering is the Chatham County High School basketball preview. Asheebo's got a big write-up in the paper coming out tomorrow, so we're going to touch on a whole bunch of stuff about that. But let's go ahead and start off. You see the agenda. We're going to start off with high school football playoffs. We still have one team in it. So, Asheebo, why don't you tell us what happened in high school football here in Chatham County last week and set us up for tomorrow?
Yeah, so we had a historic win last Friday with Seaforth, number 20 in the 5A East bracket, going to South Brunswick, number 13 there in that bracket as well. And Seaforth was down 28-14, 2 minutes left in this game. That's when Duncan Parker, the junior quarterback, found senior Nick Gregory for a touchdown. And after the two-point conversion, they trailed 22-28. Then they got the ensuing onside kick, took that all the way down the field. And then with 18 seconds left, Parker found senior Patrick Miller in the end zone for the touchdown there. They get the successful point after attempt and seal the win 29-28 to win their first ever playoff game as a football program and advance to the second round of the playoffs. And so in the second round, they're going to go play number 4 Croatan all the way back at the beach. So it's going to be another long trip and another tough opponent. I think Croatan coming into the playoffs was 9-1. Of course, they had the first round bye, so they'll be fresh. But we'll talk about that in a second because we have some other games last week as well for football. I was at Jordan Matthews. They were hosting their first playoff football game since 2009, and they fell to number 17 Red Springs 37-12 in this one. Jordan Matthews, if I remember correctly, they were only down 7-0 at halftime. It was a really close game early on, but some unfortunate things happened for the Jets. They did lose quarterback Kamari Hadley there in the first half, which really slowed down the offense, which was already kind of struggling to start the game. But they had some spurts here and there, trying to get Jakari Blue going. And they also had 2 trips there at the end of the first half, down deep in the red zone, like within the 5-yard line, just couldn't punch it in. They had 2 turnovers on downs there, and actually 1 turnover on downs, I think, in an interception, or might have been 2 interceptions there, but just 2 turnovers that didn't go their way, and they ended up not converting there and possibly getting a lead before halftime. So it comes back to bite them in the second half. Red Springs was just kind of moving the ball down the field with some dink and dunk short passes. And then they broke off some big gains in the pass game as well, and some big runs. They just wore Jordan Matthews down in that second half and ended up outscoring them by a lot there to win that one, like you said, 37-12. But regardless how that game shook out for Jordan Matthews, great season for the Jets. It was a pillar of the success to come, I think, for this program. If you guys follow the team, you guys know they have a really good freshman, sophomore class. Very talented group there that's going to come up with more experience from what they gained this year. And they also have some talent coming in from their youth program, started by Tristan Burnett with the Solid City Parks and Rec program as well. So things are looking up for Jordan Matthews football. And that was the thing I talked with Coach Kermit Carter about after the game, is that the boys really didn't have anything to hold their heads down for, because this is a season that will be remembered there for possibly getting the trend of football going back in the right direction here. So, like I said, great season for Jordan Matthews. And then over in 3A, we had number 18 Northwood. They fell to number 15 Hertford County in the 3A East first round as well, 26-14 there. And in this one, Northwood, close game at the end. They just got outscored in that fourth quarter, I think 13-7, and just couldn't close the deal there as Hertford County got going at the end of the game. So they closed the year with a 3-8 record. They dropped 3 straight games by 2 possessions or less to end the year. So close losses could have went either way in some of these games to end the year here, even in this playoff game. But considering the use they had in certain positions and what they lost from last year's team, I think Northwood still has a lot of positives to take away from the season. Like we said, they had a lot of close losses. They also dealt with some big injuries throughout the year, and they found a way to pull out some wins as well. And then in the 1A West bracket, we had number 11 Chatham Central rematching with number 6 Winston-Salem Prep and losing that game 30-12. Chatham Central was limited this season with a lot of critical injuries, and they went out there and tried their hardest. Thanks to PJ, he talked to Coach Darren Little for me, and Coach Little talked about just the fight they showed this season. They never gave up, back down from any challenge this year, and still got a win this year early on. And we talked about it earlier this season as well. They were in a lot of close games too, just like Northwood. 1-possession games, 1-point games that just didn't go their way. Sometimes they had the lead and just couldn't hold on, because we know with a small team, it's hard to keep guys fresh, and they got to play both sides of the ball for a full 48 minutes. So still a lot of positives to take away from Chatham Central football this year. I think it was another year for them where they stepped up the product on the field. And their returners come back with some more improvements, and if they're able to get some numbers, which is a big thing for Chatham Central, we'll see this program can continue to go upward and maybe get some more wins in the future. But yeah, that's a wrap on football. As far as the other 3 teams other than Seaforth, like I said, Seaforth is going to play Croatan, and just looking at, I saw a little bit of Croatan's record and who they played. They played a mix of some good teams and some not so good teams. But when they did play good teams, they did take care of business. They've won close. They've won big. Just a really good team all around there. And I watched some of their film earlier this week. I like their quarterback. I like their running back as well. And I don't know. I think with Seaforth, they poured a lot into that game, right? They come back there. They were down for the most part in that game. I do think they do put up a really good fight against Croatan. And I know Coach Tobert Matthews and Seaforth probably going to be mad at me again, but I am going to pick against them Friday night when they go down there. And I think Croatan's going to pull that one out 35-28. And like I said, Seaforth definitely has proven they have the guys to go out there and compete with anybody in 5A. And even if it's the 4 seed at their place in a long trip. And I think the guys will be ready to play. But I think Croatan is they've proven to be the better team this year from the regular season. And we'll see if that holds true on Friday.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to agree with you. I'm sure that Croatan is going to have a big home team out there. And look, whatever happens, the fact that Seaforth's gotten as far as it has is going to help them in the future. And as you said, they've got a whole bunch of young players that are getting experience this year. And I think we'll be seeing some big things from Seaforth, not just next year, but for the years to come, especially with Coach Tolbert leading that team. Anything else on football before we because there's other stuff going on, and we've got soccer playoffs. So anything else on football before we get into the soccer playoff situation?
No, I think we got football all covered for the week.
All right.
Yep.
Well, next Thursday we'll talk about it and let you folks know. Asheebo will let you know how Seaforth fared tomorrow, and let's get into the soccer playoff because we had a bunch of teams playing this week.
Yeah, boys soccer. We had a big night on Monday night in the 3rd round of the state playoffs across all the classifications. So starting with 4A East, I think the biggest game here was number 1 Southwestern Randolph taking on number 8 Jordan Matthews. This was a rematch for the 3rd time this year. Southwestern Randolph got them twice, but both games are pretty close. If you guys remember the first time at Jordan Matthews, it was a 2-1 win with Southwestern Randolph getting a penalty kick to go at the end there with like two minutes left. And then that second time at Southwestern Randolph, Jordan Matthews fell down 3-0 early, but came all the way back, took the lead, but still, 2-0 early. Excuse me. It came all the way back, took the lead, and still fell to Southwestern Randolph on that one, 6-3. So pretty close competition there between the two programs. Of course, Jordan Matthews, a younger team this year. Southwestern Randolph, an older and really talented team as well. And it's really showed Monday night in that third-round matchup. Senior Chris Betancourt from Southwestern Randolph, he notched a hat trick in the first half, including a penalty kick with 10 minutes left before halftime. And then senior Aaron Avina knocked in the final goal early in that second half to beat Jordan Matthews 4-0 in that game. And yeah, like I said, talked to Coach Paul Crodros after this one. Proud of how this team fought in this one, but they were a young squad, and I think they had a lot of chances in that first half, especially to respond to that goal. But I think the conditions were against them too. If you guys remember Monday night, really cold, windy night there. It was really hard for the ball to travel, and really hard to get the ball down the field. So I think that affected Jordan Matthews as well. But like I said, the young team, we're going to bring a lot of that team back. And so Quadros is very optimistic about the future of the program, especially if he can keep these guys together and have them grow into junior and senior class that can get to the level of like a Southwestern Randolph for what they've done the past couple of years. And then we also had in the 3A East bracket, Northwood, number 8, fell to number 1, NCSSM Durham, 2-1 in a close double overtime game on Monday. So tough loss for the Chargers, but once again, a great season for them. One of the best ones in a couple years, where they were actually led by a lot of their underclassmen this year, and they finished with a 13-7-5 record. And before that third round loss, they did beat number 24 Lewisburg 3-0 in the second round. And then Woods Charter, they were another high seed in the 1A East bracket, 5th seed there. They lost to number 4 Cape Hatteras 1-0 after 4 overtimes there in the third round. And once again, another great season for Woods Charter. Just like Northwood, one of the best ones in a while. Finished 14-4-1, reaching their most wins since 2016. And they defeated River Mill 2-1 in the second round before that third round matchup. And then we had Chatham Charter. They fell to Leadership Academy 4-0. The Leadership Academy was a 3rd seed. Chatham Charter was a 14th seed. Before that, they beat Winston-Salem Prep 10-2 in the first round, and they ended their season 7-13-1. And in the 5A East, finally, we had Seaford, the 12th seed, falling to number 5 Orange in a conference rematch, third matchup between the two teams this season. They lost that one 4-1 in the second round. And in the first round, they did beat Southern Guilford, the 21 seed, 3-1 to get out of there and take on Orange, who had a first round bye. But year for them was kind of up and down, but they did show flashes of being a really good team. They competed with teams like Northwood, beat some other good teams. I'm pretty sure they beat Orange this year as well. So got some big wins over the year, but just finished the season 10-10-3 this season. So just a little bit of 500 with some ties there. And yeah, that's a wrap on boys soccer this season. So fall sports is coming to a close. We only have football left with C4, and we'll see how they fare out on Friday night. But hey, now it's winter season. We got basketball, wrestling, indoor track coming up starting this week, and so let's go ahead and dive into it.
All right, go ahead. Wrestling, indoor track, and what was the last one? Indoor tracks, wrestling, and basketball. But basketball is coming. There's going to be a whole big chunk on it. So wrestling, yeah. I think there's the schedules out on that already, and indoor track is getting ready to go as well.
Yeah.
There we go. People don't want to see me; they want to see Asheebo. There we go. All right.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with wrestling. Always expecting big things with our teams here in Chatham, especially Seaford, as they try to keep their standard up with being a championship level program. I think Chatham Central and Jordan Matthews too. I'm hearing a lot of good things about Jordan Matthews' program this year and what they're expecting to do. So it should be an exciting wrestling season here in the county. But I think the biggest thing we're here for and to talk about today is basketball. So we have our girls and boys basketball previews in the paper coming out tomorrow. And right here, I can go ahead and give you a sneak peek of what that looks like, just giving a preview of all the teams here in the county after reaching out to all these coaches, saw some teams playing in scrimmages and practices. And so here's what I've heard. Here's what I've taken away. And starting with the girls here. So just going to talk about the big things for each team. Starting with the girls, starting at Seaforth. Of course, our 2A regional finalists from last season. They were 28-3 overall as a team. This year, of course, the biggest thing is they're losing a great senior class, right? And Gabby White, a generational player who's making her mark at Virginia already, and Peyton Collins, who was a really good defensive energy and shooter for them as well. And so Katie Leonard, how can she come in and take over that leadership role? Talking to Coach Charles Bird, he said she's going to be stepping into that go-to role that Gabby was last year. She's more of a vocal leader already, and she's going to be looking to be more than just a three-point shooter. So scoring off the dribble, finishing through contact at the rim, and also being a playmaker as well. And then it's also going to be a collective effort, just replacing that defensive presence and the offense that was created from those two seniors as well. And so, in addition to Leonard, you'll have Mia Moore, Abby Morgan, Laura Rogers, who Bird calls a defensive specialist. You have Annika Johansson. Emma Grace Hill's going to come in and have a bigger role where she can knock down some shots and spread the floor as a forward as well. So it's going to be a collective effort with a lot of their returners, both old and young from last season. And we'll see if they can uphold that same level of championship level basketball. I think the biggest thing for them that Bird said that they're harping on is consistency with that. And also, too, their growth in how they respond to challenges, I think will be a big thing to watch for Seaforth this year. And then moving on to Northwood. Northwood last year, 18-8. They lost in the first round of the 2A playoffs. So they have plenty of returners this season. So I think team chemistry would be huge for them. They have 5 seniors coming back, 10 in total. Part of that senior class would be Aaliyah Roberts, Nia Henry, Michaela and Shayla Glover, and Amari Bullitt as well. Just a really solid core that Coach Kerry Stubbs is looking to really just do more this season because they've had a lot of varsity experience these past 2 years as a group. So now it's time to, really show, I think, a mastery of the system. Like we said, the team chemistry, have that come out. And she really wants her team to improve in toughness, aggressiveness, and especially finishing at the rim and their shooting percentage, which they did struggle with last season. So those are the biggest improvements to look for with Northwood this year. I think they're going to be it's going to be another year for them when they have a big paint presence, especially with the Glover twins, Ella Hickey down there as well, and Amari Bullitt, like we said, providing some energy on the defensive end. But then they also have their shooters and Roberts and Maddie Brooks on the outside. So pretty balanced team, I think we're going to see from Northwood, and we'll see if they can improve from last year's record, which was still pretty good last year. Just looking for maybe a little bit more playoff success in the postseason. And then Chatham Central, 16-10 last year. They were 1A playoffs, a second round exit there. Talking to Coach Adrian Albright, who we'll talk about later. She has a very, very inspiring story about how she came back from medical emergency over in August, and she's going to be on the court this season coaching her girls. But she's looking for a team to be a better shooting team this year, really high intensity on defense. And I think same thing that she's had the past couple of years with this team, right? Kind of a lack of size there, but she will not have Carolee Dotson, who was a big part of the team last year. She, even though she wasn't the biggest, she provided that inside presence with being a double-double machine. So the thing there is how fast can they play to kind of make up for that size, and also too, where can they make up that inside presence? Where can they find someone to get those rebounds and kind of do the dirty work down low that they'll need for this team that they want to have running up and down the court? But I think a big thing here for Chatham Central, they brought in a transfer, Ansley Pressler from Northmore. She's a player, a guard actually, that can shoot the balls. I've heard she's very fast with the ball as well, and she can rebound because she has a little bit more size for on her as a guard on this team. So we'll see how that new addition fits in and how their style of play can really muddy up some games here. And yeah, that's a report there on Chatham Central in the preseason. Jordan Matthews last year, 4-20. They missed the playoffs last season. And talking with Coach Lamont Piggy, he really wants to see the growth in his returners, especially Lizzie Austin and Zuri Nava. And he saw in Austin this offseason, she's grown offensively with her confidence and what she's willing to do on the offensive end. Zuri Nava has grown as a vocal leader, even as young as she is. I think she's a sophomore this season. So good signs of growth already for the Jets. But a big thing there for them is they're going to have to learn how to play big without Jada Scott for the first few weeks or even months, as she's dealing with the injury to start the season. Guys, remember her. She's their big time forward, a lot of size, very tenacious rebounder, and can provides a very big inside presence for the Jets as well. And then they also have some freshmen that I think Coach Piggy is really excited for, with Michaela and Mackenzie Martin, the twins. Michaela is going to be more of the guard. Mackenzie is going to be more in the post. So he's excited for what they can bring to this team and how they can impact maybe winning some games. I think the biggest thing for them is just seeing improvements. They want to be in closer games and really just win more than they did last year. So, like I said, still a young team for Jordan Matthews. And we'll see if they can achieve those goals of just getting better each and every day. And then with Woods Charter, 11-9, first round exit last year in the 1A playoffs. Talking with Coach Carmen Wood, she wants her team to really master the system that they've established over the years. And she's expecting a big season from the senior guard, Wesley Oliver, who's on pace to get 1,000 points this year. So she could get some big accolades, make some history at Woods Charter as well. But as a team, she's hoping her team is more balanced in scoring and also better in the transition game as well. So I think Woods Charter will be a team to look after in girls basketball, especially in the Central Tar Heel 1A conference, alongside Chatham Charter, who last year was 12-15. They were a first round exit. And last year, really young team for Coach Jeff Patterson and the Knights. So I think it's going to be interesting to see the growth of sophomore guard Peyton York, who was a leader for them last year on the court. And they're also having, like I said, plenty of returners from that young team as well. So how will that team take that experience from last year, grow and improve as a unit will be big to see. So already we've seen Peyton York lead the team with some double-digit performances earlier this year. Camille Austin, Judy Shreve, both post players will also play a big role for this team as well. So, yeah, I think with Chatham Charter, kind of like JM, just a young team looking to grow. And even last year, they were still, at the top of the Central Tar Heel 1A conference, which is a good sign for Coach Patterson. If your young team could do that, and then we'll see just how far they can take it to the next level this season, as they're already underway. Gene, did you have anything interesting or anything you want to add to the girls basketball preview?
No, I think look, this is where you shine, because you're talking about all the stuff that's coming up. And folks, this is what's coming out in the paper. You're getting a preview of what's coming out in the paper. So you need to pick up a issue tomorrow. I do enjoy the fact that I had the opportunity, and Asheebo was out there on Saturday. They had the basketball scrimmage over in Siler City. That was a whole lot of fun to watch. We also got to meet the new coach from Chatham Central boys team, but you're going to talk about that a little bit later. And is there another scrimmage coming? There's another scrimmage, some kind of jamboree coming up as well, isn't there?
Actually, we have a county scrimmage tonight with Woods Charter. They're going to be taking on Chatham Central in a scrimmage actually tonight. Okay. Yeah, so we got the girls and boys taking on Chatham Central. I think it's going to be at Woods Charter. So if you guys want to check out some county on county action, you can see that as well. So we got JV at 4:30, girls at 6:00, and boys at 7:30.
Yeah, and I was going to say, folks, it looks and sounds like we're going to have an exciting basketball season. Before we continue with that, I am going to do this again to pop this up to remind you folks that you need to follow Asheebo on X, Asheebo R38. I know he did this last year, he did this the year before, and he continues to do it because it's something. Look, it's not something just the parents and the grandparents enjoy. The players enjoy the fact that Asheebo calls out some of them to do some post-game interviews with him and the coaches. So definitely need to take an opportunity on that. Parents, actually grandparents, if you don't know how to use X, talk to your grandkids and tell them how to use it so you can watch them on X with the post-game interviews. All right, let's go on and continue. What's going on the boys' side of the basketball scene?
Yeah, boys' side, plenty of exciting things going on with boys basketball this year. Starting with Northwood, 30-3 last year, the state runner-ups in 2A. Of course, they lost a lot of talent from that team, right? Their guards, Hayes Burleson, Bo Harvey, Isaiah Blair, and then their big forward, Chad Graves, transferred to another school out of state. So there's a lot of questions as far as, who's going to replace those guys. I went to their practice and I saw that they're really deep in the their guard core, considering what they brought back from the reserves last year. The guys that played just a smaller role, but have developed over the summer, over the offseason to take on that big step. So starting at the guard, of course, Cam Fowler is going to be the focal of this team, offensively and defensively. He was a 20-point 20-point scorer per game last year. And I expect that to continue and even grow this season. But I think the biggest addition start with the guards. I think, of course, you have Josiah Brown coming up as well, coming back, a shooter, very dynamic playmaker, can make you miss. He can make the right pass. And, of course, if he's open off of the screen or creates his own shot off the dribble, he can knock down the shot pretty much any level of the floor. But I think the biggest additions here is down low, right? They have a transfer in from Carborough, Bakari Watkins, a forward who can stretch the floor, shoot the three as well, and also create an inside presence. Then you have the freshman Tolson O'Daniel, who's going to come in and try to be a defensive presence down low as well. But he can also spread the floor and shoot the three. And then, like I said, back in the guards, I mean, Grant Locklear, Asher, as well, who's going to come in, do some big things for Northwood. This team, talking with Coach Matt Brown, they're going to play a kind of like a different way of basketball this year, new style offensively and defensively. And offensively, I think the biggest thing we're going to see is just how many scores and how many people they can trust to score the basketball this year. So it's going to be hard to defend Northwood this season. And of course, I'm excited to see how that looks on the court as well this year. And then with Seaforth, 15-13 last year, second round exit in the 2A playoffs. The guards here, they have a very guard heavy roster at Seaforth. I think the biggest things they want to do is they want to speed teams up offensively and defensively. If you guys watched their scrimmage over the weekend at Jordan Matthews against Graham, I mean, at the first half against Graham had a really long and athletic team, but I didn't really face Seaforth because they were really pesky in their press, created a lot of turnovers, and they went up big, made a big run there to start that scrimmage and looked pretty dominant with how they flustered Graham. So I imagine they try to do that to a lot of teams this season, muddy up the game there defensively and turn it into fast offense. But I think a big thing with them is the physical development of their guards that are seniors now, Campbell Metter and Declan Lindquist. Those guys look, they're bigger and stronger, according to Coach John Barry. And it showed in that scrimmage. Of course, Campbell and Declan can both knock down the three-point shot as well. And Declan is more comfortable being a slasher, going down to the court, going down the lane and using his size to finish strong at the rim. So that'll be interesting to see. But a big thing there for their guards is they added Cole Davis from Crescent Christian. He's a smaller, scrappy guard that can create offensively. Not only is he scrappy on defense, but he can come down, get a score off the dribble, create his own shot with a turnaround jump shot. We saw that a little bit in the scrimmage. So he's an exciting player as well. But the question there for Seaforth is, can they establish an inside presence with some guys they added and Davis Peoples, and they have a freshman, Cole Irwin, that they might plug in here and there every so often to be that interior guy. So that's just the biggest question for Seaforth. But I definitely see I kind of expect them to be an improved team from last year as well. And then Jordan Matthews, 9-15 last season, missed the playoffs. Talking with Coach Rodney Wiley, the biggest thing there was their experience and familiarity that they're bringing back to this roster. He's hoping this team has a better feel, is more connected as a team, and hopefully that will lead to more wins this season. Of course, they're bringing back their three leading scorers from last year, sophomore Nolan Mitchell, senior Kamari Hadley, and junior Zayon August. And they're going to be playing up-tempo style of basketball, very wing-heavy as a team, but they're going to look to exploit some mismatches with their athleticism in those positions as well. And so they're going to also hope to shoot better as a team, which was a struggle for them last year. So we'll see if they can improve on last year's losing record. And a big goal for them is really making the playoffs. That's really a goal for them, is something they haven't done in a couple seasons. They want to get back to competing in the postseason, which they very well could. Like we said, last year was a young roster. This year, those kids have grown with their experience. They got took a lot of bumps last year, but now coming back from football, which a lot of them did play, and like Coach Wiley said, they played together for a long time. Hopefully that connectedness can lead to more success. And then Chatham Central, interesting team here. They have a new coach in Stacey Harris, who's coming in after the departure of Robert Burke. Last year, 23-5, third round exit in Burke's last season at the helm of the Bears. And Coach Stacey Harris, talked to him at the scrimmages as well at Jordan Matthews. And his culture, the biggest thing he wants his team to do this season is to play defense and rebound. So really straightforward there with what he wants out of his team. But they're going to be a really young team with the exception of a couple of seniors and returners, and Jeremiah Young, Simon Saba. They're going to have young guys to look forward to, and Turner Albright, maybe Brooks Albright if he returns this season from his injury from football. And they're going to have some other guys as well. That'll be interesting to see how they develop this season. So I think the biggest thing that Coach Stacey Harris talked about with this team is they want to take advantage of the team's shooting abilities, because I think that is a strength that they're going to be looking forward to using this season, and also create open looks for themselves, knock down some threes, and try to score. Something that was really big for the teams in the recent past year, led by Reed Albright, is creating those open looks and playing fast and scoring. So that's the thing there. We'll see how far a leader in Jeremiah Young can take them, because he's seen the recent highs of the team, right? Especially last year with Reed Albright and Brennan Oldham, and he was a big part of that as well. So we'll see if he can carry over that energy into this younger squad and lead them to some success. And then Chatham Charter, 2011 last year, second round exit for them. Another young team here for Coach Jason Messier. And key here is just how far can the senior in Kamani Wagner Jada lead them, especially after his offensive growth that Coach Jason Messier has said he's shown. He says offensive confidence has grown, and that has pretty much shown up in the stat sheet so far this season. He's made a big jump in his scoring averages as well. But also, can they get big contributions from their other guys like Ryder Murphy, Braylon Harris, some younger guys that had some varsity experience last year? Can they grow and improve on what they did last season and make a big impact here? So that's some things to watch for Chatham Charter, young group there. We'll see if they can get through their bumps through the season and finish with a winning record and another playoff appearance. But I'm really excited for Woods Charter this season. Coach Leonard Manier's group last year, 13-9, first round exit. And he even said, last year the guys were a little disappointed in how last year's ended, even though making the playoffs, right, which was a big deal the year before. They wanted more last year, and just didn't get it. So that's going to be a big motivator for this team. They're returning a core of Levi Haygood, Alden Phelps, Maxwell Carr, and Jackson Morris down low. Also, Daniel Saba is another forward that's going to be big for them. And Idris Abdullah, a forward who's going to provide a defensive presence down low. I think they're going to play, talking to Coach Leonard McNair, they're going to play a fast-paced brand of basketball as well. But the biggest thing for them this season was the weight room, and they harped on getting bigger and being able to handle physicality from different opponents this season, especially finishing at the rim. So that's going to be something to watch, especially with their guards. I saw some clips on their Instagram. You got Levi Haygood throwing some dunks down this season. So I expect a big year from him as well. But another big question they're going to have for themselves is how well can they respond to adversity, and we'll see if that will be successful for them, because I think that's going to be a big thing to making that next step now, and to not just making the playoffs, but also having more wins, going in, competing for a conference championship, and then also winning some games in the playoffs, which I think this team could do, especially with now how the 1A classification is and how the classifications have split. So we'll see how Woods Charter can make that next step as a program this season.
Yeah, sounds like some really good stuff going on, and it was neat to meet Coach Stacy. And as you mentioned, I think they are young, but he said he's got what 8. He's got 8 sophomores. So one of the things he mentioned is, like you said, he wants to emphasize defense among the skill development for this season, because I think he's looking to set it up the pathway for success next year. I think they'll do the best they can this year, and once he gets those sophomores trained up, they're going to be a force to deal with next year. But again, you never know. If teams trying hard, they will prosper. Anything else on high school basketball in Chatham County?
Nope. I think that's all we got. Yeah, it's long. I'm long-winded. Sorry if I spoke a little too long on the previews, but yeah, I just want to give you guys a sneak peek of what these teams could look like coming into the season. Like I said, our charter schools, Woods and Chatham Charter, have already kind of started their seasons. So you guys probably already got to look at them. But yeah, I'm excited for a new year. Like I said, there's going to be plenty of new storylines to follow. New players emerging as great talent here in the county, and yeah, we're going to be following all of it.
Yeah, and folks, you definitely need to pick up a copy of the paper. I mean, you've heard Asheebo talking about all this stuff, and it's different when you've got the print right there and you're able to read it. Definitely worth cutting out. I've told you numerous times when my kids played sports, we always liked picking up the paper when there was mention of them, and usually picked up a couple of copies, because one of them we cut up and put on the refrigerator, and there's actually other copies that we have saved. And my kids are all out of college, and we actually did look through some pictures this past weekend. It was neat to see. So you need to pick up the paper tomorrow. The other thing too, on the basketball thing, this is two former basketball players here in Chatham County, Drake Powell and Jaron Stevenson. They both were playing last night. Drake was playing for the Nets, which lost, and Jaron was playing for UNC. And Jaron got hurt in the first 2 minutes, and they actually took him off the court. I'm just sitting there going, ooh, and his folks were up in the stands watching, and but Jaron did come back, and he finished off with 15 points. So he had a really nice game, and actually Coach Hubert Davis mentioned him in his post-game press conference, and Drake got himself a few points as well. I think he played like 22, 23 minutes. So, Asheebo, what's your assessment of how 2 former Chatham County student athletes are doing out there in both UNC and with the Brooklyn Nets?
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with Jaron being able to come back from the injury, and they really needed him last night. If you guys watched that game against Radford had some players that were really good. And I think actually played some high major basketball as well. So they came in and gave UNC a fight. He came in, provided another inside presence for them with some big boards, knocked down a couple threes, and really stretched the floor right with keeping Radford's defense honest and open up some lanes for guys like Luka to get some buckets as well. So very, very impressive contribution from Jaron last night. But Drake, if you guys remember, I think earlier this week or last week, he had his career high against the Knicks, 15 points there in that game. So he's also received a lot of praise, not just from Nets media, but from the Nets organization, head coach Jordi Fernandez, for just what he's been able to show offensively on the NBA level. And he's having a great rookie season so far, despite sometimes he might not play as much in certain games. I know the Nets are still trying to figure out their rotation and what they're trying to do as an organization right now. But when he does get his opportunity, he makes the most of it, and he did it again last night. He's always, I think, pretty much every game he's been in this season, he's been really productive and showed some positive things with the Nets. So I think he's definitely showing he belongs there in the NBA level and could possibly be someone who could stick around for some time.
Yeah, we're all here in Chatham County happy to hear him doing well. I'm just waiting for the Drake Powell bobblehead to come out because they announced one of the other players had a bobblehead come out this past week, and I captured a screenshot of that. It's kind of like, hey, we can't wait to see the Drake Powell bobblehead. So maybe that's going to happen in the future. All right. We talked about basketball, your basketball preview in the paper. You got anything else you want to touch on that's in the paper before we get into everyone's favorite, the athlete, Asheebo's athlete of the week?
Yeah. So also part of the basketball previews, we have a story just highlighting where we have college basketball players from Chatham County all over the country. I mean, all over the country, pretty much here. And so men's and women's basketball. Of course, we got Gabby White at Virginia. Some other stars. Olivia Porter from Northwood, still at Marquette, doing some big things. Takia Bland from Northwood, she's at North Carolina Central this season after spending her freshman year at Howard. So follow some of our former athletes on the next level. Like we said, we got some pro athletes. Not only just Drake, but his cousin Jalen McAfee-Marion is also still in Ireland playing pro basketball there for our Irish Super League. And also, too, we have a story on Coach Adrian Albright from Chatham Central girls basketball. Like we said in August, she suffered massive blood clots and was a medical emergency. And she, you can read more about her story of battling back from that medical scare and being able to overcome her side effects, get back in the classroom, and get back on the court pretty soon here. And so she's excited to be able to be back on the court and coach her team. You can read more about that in the paper. It's like I said, really, really great story about just trusting your instincts and listening to your own body and being there, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. And also, too, like I said, boys and girls basketball previews. We have a roundup with the end of football for our other three schools and a recap of C4's big win with the end of boys soccer as well. And then finally, our athlete of the week was Gene. If you're ready, I can go ahead and get into um, athlete of the week this week. We're going to C4 football. It's going to go to Patrick Miller, who caught, of course, the game time touchdown, 18 seconds left to help C4 to complete the comeback and win its first ever playoff football game. And so we know throughout the season, Patrick Miller, he's come up big for the Hawks as a receiver and as a safety. He's got some interceptions this year, and of course some big catches for some big gains and touchdowns. They call, from what I heard, they call him WPP, winning play Pat. So congrats to Pat there. Made another winning play on Friday, and we'll see if he can do it again in a couple of days when they go to Crowton.
So did Patrick know that he was going to be your athlete of the week when he caught that touchdown pass, or did he have an inkling?
I don't know. He might have did. It might have been a thought like, hey, that should get me a nod for athlete of the week, and it did, man. And yeah, like I said, he's been making big plays for them all season. Him and Nick Gregory. Remember when Tolbert brought those two? He knew from the beginning those were going to be his two guys that were going to take them to some big things this season, and they have, because Nick also caught the touchdown pass before Pat to bring them within one score. So yeah, they call him WPP for a reason.
WPP. Yeah, look, Patrick's a really nice guy as well. I've seen him doling out ice cream at Circle City Ice Cream, so he's out there. He's a nice presence. Congratulations, Patrick. Your mom and dad and your fellow students at C4 should be proud of you. All right. Anything else before we talk about where you're going to be? I have no idea what I'm going to be covering yet next week. I haven't gone over the schedules, but I know I'm not going to Croatan. Are you going to Croatan?
No, I will be down for probably the next 3, 4, or 5 days, recovering from my oral surgery. So yeah, I won't be able to be out on the road, but maybe next week, in the next week, I will be back out. Of course, we're going to hit some basketball coming up, because I think we'll have pretty much all the county teams starting by the end of next week, if not early into the week after. So definitely hitting some basketball once I get back in action.
Oh, the other thing I want to let folks know, we did this last year, turned out to be real popular. We're going to try to get the basketball, and I know we got wrestling coach with us last year. We're going to try to do that again this season. Didn't do much of actually we didn't do any of it this past football season, but I know there's certain coaches out there that will talk with us. And actually, I asked Coach Stacy over at Chatham Central, asked him if he's a talker, and he goes, "What?" I go, "Yeah, well, we do this live stream, and it's just another way to get information out there." And I've told Asheebo when he gets on ESPN, I want him to give us all a shout out here in Chatham County. So look, if Drake can do it, Asheebo can do it. All right, folks, that's it for this week. Asheebo's going to be out of commission. If you want, follow him on Asheebo R38. If you want, give him a thumbs up. Hopefully, he'll make it through his surgery just fine. And we'll see you next Thursday. Thank you so much for watching. Asheebo, we got anything else to say before we close this out?
Yep, thank you guys for watching once again. Like I said, as we end the fall season pretty soon, well, depending on what C4 does Friday, but just we want to thank y'all once again for continuing to support us, continuing to say hey with the shout outs when you guys see us out. And yeah, we just thank you all for watching and reading our content and continue to pick up Chatham News and Record. Great stuff in there with basketball this week. I probably won't be able to make a post about it, so I'm going to say it now. Please pick it up. It's going to be a lot of great things, give you a good insight of what to expect from the basketball season. And like you said, a great story with Coach Adrian Albright as well. So, yeah, once again, just want to thank y'all, and we'll see y'all around in the next couple of weeks for the winter.
All right, folks, stay safe this week. We'll see you next Thursday. Thank you very much.